Question, are you a pro athlete? You know what? Don't even answer, probably not, because based off the title of my video, you're either an aspiring athlete that wants to become a pro or an ex-retired athlete that wonders where did it go wrong. Or maybe you are a pro athlete and I don't know why you're here, but I feel like you're stalking me and I'm flattered. Regardless of your athletic status, it is so obvious why becoming a pro athlete is desirable. You get to do a job that you love for a living. You usually have a high salary, especially if you're a guy. You also get to travel a lot. You have access to great medical care. You do a job that keeps you healthy and active generally. You get unlikely opportunities, sponsorships, extra money, free stuff. You also get to inspire future generations, play in front of a huge crowd. Because it's so desirable, the road to get there cannot be an easy run. Fewer than 2% of NCAA athletes go on to become professionals, or roughly 853 out of 1.1 million high school students end up being a professional athlete. That's 0.000075%. If you're an athlete right now, the odds could feel extremely discouraging because it is so competitive. There are so many people that want to become a professional athlete, and maybe you don't feel smart enough, fast enough, athletic enough, skillful enough. Maybe there are so many reasons why you should feel bad and insecure about. But what if I told you that if you did this one thing that will increase your chance tenfold? I have that right now for you. I have this whole video planned because I will tell you the most valuable thing that you need to do to become a professional athlete. And if you're retired, you might wonder, like, what's the one thing you could have changed? Maybe you're an athlete in the past and you're just curious, like, what would I have done differently? Well, this is what it is. And the beautiful thing is whatever I'm going to say, you can apply it to whatever career you want to be the top % at. Because what I'm about to say is so valuable. This is literally the formula for I use the word formula again. I used it in my previous video. But this is literally what you need to focus on if you want to achieve the highest success for yourself. Now, I know what you're thinking. Like, why would you listen to me, right? Like, who am I? Why would you listen to me? Well, I got 2 reasons. First of all, I am a professional athlete. And I know I'm not famous, but you can Google me if you don't believe me. My name is Bianca St. George. I'm a professional soccer player. I play for the Chicago Red Stars in the NWSL and also the Canadian Women's National Team. And if you don't believe me, if you don't trust me, that's fine. Just so you know, my experience is I've played and I've talked to and I've been around some of the greatest soccer players of all time. I've learned a lot from them. I've learned from their experiences, their background, the upbringing, and everybody that is a pro athlete has this one thing in common that makes us be where we're at today and is at the root of our success. But if that wasn't enough to convince you, my second reason why you should listen to me is that whatever I'm saying is not new. It's stuff that every sport legend has said before. Everyone like Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Djokovic, Michael Phelps, whoever it is, they have always swore by this principle. And you just gotta like read their books, look at interviews, testimonies. They're all gonna say the same common theme. And I'm just here to say the message that they're saying. And also, you're not gonna see someone like Ronaldo go on YouTube and share their message. But if you did a little bit of research, you would realize they all say the same thing that made them become a pro athlete. So I'm just here to be the voice behind that. And it's going to save you all this time to look into the literature. And that's the beautiful thing about what I'm going to tell you is that everything I say is backed up by science. Like, it's not like it's this mystical thing. This is actually true and it works. So let's get into it. So what is it? What is the one thing I'm going to tell you to become a pro? Is it what you do with your body? Is it a specific type of training, mobility work, how often you train, the type of training you do, the amount of skill work you do? Or maybe it's what you put into your body, like your nutrition, or the hydration and electrolytes, or maybe supplements. Or maybe it's how you treat your body, like how you treat your mind and your body, like journaling, visualization, meditation, or recovery tools like massages, Theragun, cryotherapy, cold plunge, sauna. What is it? What is it I'm going to tell you? Well, if you think that my answer is along those lines, you've got it all wrong. Because those are simply side effects to what I'm about to tell you. I don't blame you for thinking that those were the most important things you needed to focus on, because that's what athletes portray in the media. They show off their new skill, or that, you know, you need to train this for an hour, or take this supplement to increase your performance, or use this recovery tool and then you'll feel better for the next training next day. And then they always follow up with a 15% off if you use my code and discount. I don't blame you for thinking that, because that's what we put out there on social media. But those are simply distractions to what you actually need to focus on. You gotta ask yourself the real question. What drives those athletes to push themselves to the highest potential? The most important, valuable tool that you need to do to become a professional athlete is to develop a strong growth mindset. And before you click off because you don't think that this is valuable to you, and that you're disappointed that I say that, and you'd rather have something tangible like buy this, do this, take that, you're going to remain a loser. Because if you truly understood how valuable your mind is, how powerful it is, you would take a moment and listen to what I have to say. Anyone that is successful has a strong growth mindset. Anyone. And I use success here as like being in the top % of your field or your career. Your mind is a secret weapon. Do you realize that? You need to figure out how you can switch your fixed mindset about certain things about yourself to a growth mindset, because that's what's going to allow you to reach your highest potential as an athlete. So before I go into the growth mindset and tell you what it is and how amazing it is, we need to maybe look back into the opposite of it, which is a fixed mindset. And we got to figure out if you have a fixed mindset about yourself and your abilities, your intelligence, your talent, your potential. So a fixed mindset is basically the fundamental belief that your talent is predetermined, it's fixed, it's out of your control, it's something that you're born with, and it's something that should be only natural. A fixed mindset keeps you limited because it doesn't allow you to view challenges as opportunities to improve. That is the biggest thing that the fixed mindset does. Because what's really obvious is that you're going to face challenges in your journey. And if you don't find a way to overcome them, if you don't have the belief that you can overcome them and that you can develop your talent, you're not going to reach your potential. You're just going to stay up to the limit to where you're at right now. Let's try to identify the fixed mindsets you have about yourself. And please be honest with yourself. I won't judge you. I don't even know who you are. It's just you and yourself right now. You have nothing to show off. You have nothing to prove. You have no one to impress. Be honest and truthful about how you think and how you view yourself. We need to identify the assumptions or the beliefs that you have about your abilities that are actually limiting you. So think about this. How do you react when you face a challenge? When you face something that's actually hard, that is testing you, do you feel like those challenges should be avoided? When you face them, that's wrong, that if you were to have success, you shouldn't be able to face challenges? How do you feel when someone criticizes you, a coach or a teammate or a friend or a parent? Do you feel defensive? Do you feel like you need to justify why you did something wrong? How do you react when you make a mistake or when you fail? Are you quickly to blame something? You're on the field and you make a bad pass. Are you quickly to blame someone to giving you the ball to the wrong foot? Or that you were already recovering, so you were tired, so it's impossible for you to be ready for that pass? How do you react when things don't go out as planned? Do you get frustrated easily? How do you react when someone has success? Do you feel threatened? Do you feel jealous, envious? Do you feel like you want to belittle them? Does someone else's success affect you? Do you believe that confidence is something you're born with? Or that if you have natural abilities, like you're fast, that's because you're born someone that's supposed to be fast. It's in your genes. How about being strong? You're just born strong, like you're meant to be strong? Like someone that is powerful. you wish you were born powerful? Do you believe that if you were actually good at something, it shouldn't feel hard? That's a good one. I like that one. But do you actually feel that way? Do you feel like if you were actually good at your sport and meant for success, it should feel easy? Or do you feel like sometimes some drills are a waste of time because you're just not good at it and there's no point of starting now to work at it? Or when you're at training and you just want to train and show off what you're best at because that's what you're known for and you're best at that, so you need to show off that. No point in working on your weakness, because if you can just perfect your strength, you're going to be at the level that you want to be. If some of these sayings resonated with you, and it shouldn't be all of them, but I mean, I hope it's not all of them, but if some of them actually hits home for you, you know that you think that way sometimes, you gotta realize that that's a fixed mindset. If you think something like, oh, I wish I was confident, do you realize that's something that you can work at and improve? That's the growth mindset. The fixed mindset is just wishing you were something else, like you had no power in changing. A fixed mindset is deadly to your career because it comes with the belief that your mental and physical abilities are fixed, predetermined, and out of your control. If you truly believe that, when you'll face a challenge, you won't want to work through it because you'd feel like there's no point, because you can't improve, because you are at a fixed certain amount of talent or certain amount of personality that you have. And if you recall from one of my previous videos, you act within what you believe. So if you believe of yourself at a certain amount of talent, you're only gonna act to the max of that talent. You're never gonna outperform that. Every time you're gonna face a challenge that's going to ask you to have more skills, you're not going to work through it and try to improve yourself because you'll feel like you can't change who you are. I hope this makes sense. I'm gonna give you an example. So when I was younger, I used to be not technical at all. So I play soccer, right? And when I was a kid, I didn't really love soccer that much. Like, I played because I liked my friends, and I was also really good at it because I was naturally competitive, I was strong, I was fast, so I stood out that way. And I kind of started liking it because I could see that I was better than most of the people. And it just kind of gradually made me go to a higher level each time. But eventually, I hit a point where I would kind of like feel challenged sometimes, like people were getting better and I didn't have like much to show besides like my physical attributes. And then there's a coach that told me, hey, Bianca, I was a forward back then. They were like, if you're gonna be against a defender, and let's say they're as strong, as fast, and as powerful as you, what else are you gonna show up for? And I was like, damn, I have no technical skills. If someone is as physically strong as me, what else am I going to show to beat them? And then that was my wake-up call, that I was like, even though I was 13 and I started realizing I needed to work on my soccer skills, I had the mindset that I needed to improve to be better, and I was capable of doing it because I had a growth mindset. I knew I could change. I didn't think that my talent was fixed to a certain level. I hope this kind of makes sense. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. This story is similar to everyone that I know right now. All my teammates have similar stories that if they didn't improve a certain aspect of their game, they wouldn't have made it to the next level. And if they believed that their level of talent was fixed, they would have reached that next level. Now I'm going to contrast this story with someone that had a fixed mindset. And I'm sure you can think of someone that is exactly like the person I'm about to tell you. So I grew up close to a very talented soccer player. And when I grew up, she used to be someone I played against. And she was known all around my region as like this person with raw talent. Everybody knew her. Everybody thought that she was going to go really far in life, in her career, in her soccer career. She was just amazing. Everybody knew her. And as I grew up, at first I played against her, and it was always like we were kind of top two like in our region, and she was known as like the really skillful player versus I was just like the tank, you know. And eventually we became teammates. We were on the same team, and she kept developing, and she kept becoming like this great player, and she was getting recognized nationally. So we went to this youth national team together. But as we grew up, challenges started to emerge. Caliber started to be more competitive, and we were invited to a national team together, and she was finally exposed to people that were also just like her, like grew up with raw talent that was just extremely skillful. And then the coaches kind of told her, like, we like your style of play, but you need to do this different. Like, you need to add this to your style of play, which is natural. You know, coaches don't want a player to just stay stagnant. They want them to improve. But in her mind, she thought like, oh, there's no way I can play like that because I'm short. Or why would they ask me to do this? This is not how I play. Or I don't want to do long balls. Like, I'm more like the passing type. And because she had such a fixed mindset about what she could do, and she didn't think that she could improve on those aspects, that she just stayed at the level she was at. And the coaches, what did they do? Well, they didn't want to deal with a player like that. And then they cut her, and not long after that, her career ended. And it was a shock to the world because everybody felt like she was going to go really, really far. Like, people were saying she's gonna be the next GOAT, you know, when I grew up. Like, how many people do you know that that's happened to? Like, I know you know of someone that this happened to. Or maybe that was you. And I'm sorry if it was. But, you know, whatever career you do right now, it's not too late. Just try to be the best at that. You know, push yourself, reach your potential. This shows that your mindset and how you view your talent and your abilities has a huge impact. So you basically either have the mindset that your talent is fixed, or the mindset that your talent can be developed. And you have to make sure that you're in the latter one, because that's the growth mindset, and that's going to make you always look to improve when things get challenging. A good example that I like to think about is Bethany Hamilton. She's a pro surfer, but when she was 13, a shark bit her arm off. Like, you can't tell me that she had the biggest excuse in the world to give up. But what did she do? She had a growth mindset. She knew that if she just learned how to be patient, work around her disability, and figure out how to make it work, she could reach her dreams. She could reach her highest potential despite having one arm. And now she's a top surfer in the world. That is amazing. If she would have kept that mentality that, oh, it's so unfortunate I have one arm, my dreams are crushed. Like, I could have only achieved my potential if I had two arms, which is like pretty valid because honestly, that takes so much mental strength. But she had the growth mindset, and she had the patient time and effort to develop her abilities despite having one arm. Like, that is incredible to me. That just shows the power of the mind. So by now, I think you agree, and I hope you agree, that you need a growth mindset if you want to be a pro athlete. So a growth mindset is the belief that your abilities, your skills, your intelligence, your potential can be developed with time, effort, practice, perseverance, you know. It's not impossible. You know, it's almost like anything is possible belief. Your talent is not predetermined. It is not fixed. It is not out of your control. It is not innate. It is something you can always work to improve. Just think about it. Why would elite athletes go through the pain of self-discipline, of training every day, of sacrifice, of injustice, of facing challenges, if they didn't think that that would make them improve? They inevitably do the hard behavior because they know that that's going to make them improve. If they didn't have that belief, they wouldn't do it. So when I say that, you know, taking care of your body and your mind and recovery and what you eat is part of a side effect of your mindset, that's what I mean. If you have the mindset that you can improve with little things, it's going to be easier for you to do those things. So having a growth mindset is wonderful. It makes you not quit when things get hard. It teaches you to be humble and always look to self-improve. It allows you to not be complacent and sit on your success. And then you become ready to face any challenge because you know that that's normal and that they're there for learning opportunities, and you'll have a different perspective before you go into it. So when you face a challenge, you'll be ready and you'll be able to overcome them. So if I had to summarize like the greatest benefits of having a growth mindset, this is what I would say. Well, the number one thing, and I think this is the most important one, is that you have greater resilience. So if you believe that you can improve with everything that you do and any challenges that you face, if you embrace the hard work, if you embrace the effort, if you embrace challenges, you're going to be able to last longer than other people. And the road to become a pro is so long, it's so hard, you face so many up and downs. You want to be resilient along the process, because if you face a challenge and then you quit, or you face a challenge and you keep going and then you're not resilient enough, you're not going to get to the top. You're going to quit before you get there. But if you have a growth mindset, that will allow you to stay resilient, stay strong until you reach the top. Having a growth mindset also comes with increased motivation, because it is so much easier to work towards something if you have a reason to, first of all, and you get motivated because you know that you're going to improve. Like, if you have the mindset that you can improve with effort, you're going to be motivated to do the effort because you know that there's a reward. Having a growth mindset also makes you more willing to take risks, and risks are really important because risk comes with reward. If you don't take any risk, nothing great's going to come out of life. But risk can be scary because you're scared to fail. But if you have a growth mindset, you're more willing to take those risks because you know that failure is just going to be a failure if you don't keep going after that. Failure is just a learning opportunity. It's not that serious, you know? Failure is going to happen. You just have to react to failure and see how you can learn from it and grow from it. It's not a big deal. It's going to happen. Growth mindset also gives you improved focus. And to put it simply, you'll have tunnel vision. And that's what I love about growth mindset, because you know that if you put your effort, you're going to go and you're going to end up where you want to go. So tunnel vision, baby. Growth mindset also gives you an increase in self-confidence. And I think that's wonderful, because confidence is something that a lot of people want to have, and they don't realize how having confidence can actually bring you to success, because believing in yourself is probably the most important thing. If you don't believe you can get somewhere, if you don't believe that you're worth your success, you're very unlikely going to get there. So having a growth mindset allows you to believe in yourself, as cliche as it sounds. Another thing that comes with a growth mindset is that you become more coachable and you become a better teammate. And that's extremely important, especially in a team environment. But if you're more willing to listen to what your coaches have to say, and you're not as, snippy and ready to give excuses, and you're ready to listen instead, you're going to become more coachable. People will want to work with you, and that's, overall going to make you better. And then the last thing is that having a growth mindset makes you more open-minded. And because you're open-minded, you're going to try new things. So trying different diets, trying different recovery tools, different styles of training, it's going to come more natural to you, because you know that if you try new things, you might learn, you might make mistakes, but at least it will make you grow, and you can become a better athlete from that. Hopefully you take wise risks and calculated risks, so the consequences aren't as big, but you can always bounce back. I really believe that everything in life has to do with your mindset. Now, you might agree that growth mindset is something that you want to have, but you're still maybe a little bit insecure because you have fixed mindsets about certain things about yourself. Here are a couple things that you can apply for you to change your fixed mindset to a growth mindset, because a mindset is something you cultivate. And you have to actively try to change it for you to change. It's not something that's going to switch automatically like that, but you got to give yourself a couple tricks, a couple reminders to change your brain wiring for that. The first thing you want to do is to harness the power of the word yet. I'm not fast enough yet. And honestly, that little switch of word kind of primes your brain. It gives reminders to your brain that, okay, it's a possible thing to be fast. I can work to get there. And the word yet is just a matter of time and effort until I get there. I like to say that about my aspirations for, let's say, YouTube. I'm like, I don't have 100, I actually do have 100. I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet. I know it's going to happen. I just gotta keep posting. I gotta keep putting my stuff out there, and it's gonna happen. So that's something, like, it literally, everything I say about the mindset you can apply in your sport and in real life, obviously. The second thing you want to do is to seek challenges. You really want to actively try to put yourself in situations that are going to make you grow, because that's going to make you go to the next level faster. If you try to just avoid challenges, you're not going to prepare yourself for big moments, because the challenges are going to come regardless. But try to test yourself in little ways every day for you to get more ready for when big challenges come in. You're going to be able to bounce over it way easier. I remember when I started working on my technical skills, how much it sucked, because it felt extremely challenging. I was not as good as everybody else around me, and I definitely needed some work. But if I would have pushed my work until later, I would have had to face the challenge or be exposed to my technical abilities at a higher level, where I wouldn't have had as much time to catch up, and maybe I would have lost an opportunity to show off at the point where it was the most crucial. So try to find times when you feel uncomfortable or things are hard. You can seek challenges for yourself to get better. Next is to be in tune about how you feel about others. Instead of feeling threatened or jealous or envious of someone else's success, ask yourself, how can I? Like, first of all, be aware that you are jealous. Like, be aware that the way you feel about other people is actually hurting you. Like, realize that. And how you can actually just look at it from a different perspective and be, how can I do this? Like, there's this girl on my team that is just so fucking good at finishing. And it's like, I could just sit back and be mad or jealous that I'm not like that. But then I always think, like, how does she do that? How can I be like that? How can I change my approach to how I finish to be more like that? And that makes it way more fun. And that makes me improve, actually, because I'm not like letting something put me down and put my morale down. I actually use it as inspiration. And then the last thing you want to do is to ask for help and feedback. Like, people have so many different point of views, and if you just look at your own, you're not going to improve, because like, as much as you try to be open-minded about yourself, you never truly look at the picture through every angle. So ask teammates, ask coaches, ask people you're close to, or people that you don't really talk to either, like people like fans. Just ask people what they view about you or what they think you can do better, and that can expand your point of view and think about different things you can work on. Put your ego aside and use those resources, because the raw feedback can actually be the biggest difference in what you need to work on. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this was valuable, and yeah, give yourself a little tap on the shoulder, a little tap on the heart, a little kiss on the cheek, because you listened to the whole video and you got better today. So I love you, and I'll see you in my next video. Mwah.